Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dan Love, and I am one of our instructional technology coaches here in Walled Lake. I mainly support the 12 elementary buildings. I get to lead today's session about some educational technology use for our elementary staff. Really looking forward to this session. I hope you get a lot out of it for sure. And I really am looking forward to a great year of partnering with staff and really helping to elevate teaching and learning with some technology integration. As we get started, I just want to acknowledge that a video presentation like this can have its limitations. I've sat where you are right now and just had to stare up at the screen. I've structured this session to be as engaging and as interactive as possible. There's going to be 3 different activities. I'll do a little talking and demonstrating, and then we'll pause the video and give you a chance to check things out, do some hands-on learning, talk with your colleagues, and collaborate. And then we'll come back together and move on from there. Let's take a look at what we're going to be covering today. We're going to start off by looking at a letter that the families of all of our students received during their back-to-school registration concerning AI use in instruction. Give a chance to read that and discuss. Next, we're going to look at a tool called a character chatbot and see what kind of classroom experiences we can create using an AI tool like that. Digital literacy, we're going to look back at that chatbot experience and just kind of see where we can incorporate some basic digital literacy skills and to kind of name and notice those things that we did with our students. And finally, we are going to create some storybooks, completely customized from scratch stories that can be helpful in supporting differentiated instruction and some vocabulary work as well. So to get all the resources for today's session, you can go to this website, type in bit.ly/WLCSD082426. This has to be all lowercase WLCSD, and then this is 6 digits for today's date, 082426. When you go there, you'll get to the main tab here with those objectives we just went over, and then all the resources will be in these boxes as we go throughout the session here, all available to you. Before diving in, let's acknowledge that student-facing AI is a new, tricky frontier for us here in Walled Lake. My own journey with AI started with awe, but now understanding the drawbacks, that's really sharpened my focus. Any classroom implementation has to be ethical, intentional, and genuinely worthwhile. Everyone brings their own valid perspectives to this topic, from excitement to deep concern regarding cognitive offloading, academic dishonesty, screen time, environmental impacts. We really have to weigh all those costs carefully. However, we also have a responsibility to prepare our students for an AI integrated world. Rather than ignoring the technology, our goal is to provide safe, guided experiences that build critical thinking and digital literacy. Let's take a look at the letter. All the families of our students received a copy of this letter during the back-to-school registration. You should definitely feel safe and supported in implementing student-facing AI tools with this letter. And you're going to have a chance now to read all the way through this and have some discussions with the goal that we really want to create a common understanding with your colleagues in your building about the contents of this letter and about what AI student-facing tools might look like for us here. So as you're reading, prepare for a discussion with these 2 things. An affirmation. First, what stood out in this letter that makes you feel supported by the district leadership? Identify something for the discussion. And then the second piece is to anticipate. What is a practical challenge that you anticipate when implementing these guidelines in your instruction in your classroom? So you're going to pause the video here, and then we will come back together and go on from there. Thank you. So imagine a classroom full of students, and on the board is being projected is Gemini, this AI tool. And using Gemini, the class interacts through discussion and interview with Gemini, but Gemini is now acting as with the persona of a book character or a famous person or a scientist. For example, maybe the class wants to talk to Mo Willems' pigeon and find out exactly why he wants to drive the bus. Or maybe in art class, we want to talk and interview Henri Matisse about color choice. Perhaps Neil Armstrong's journey to the moon is a topic that students would want to explore. Maybe you're getting ready to do some opinion writing and you want to talk to a film or a restaurant critic and find out how they do their work. So, all those are possible with what we're going to demonstrate here today. You're going to need to know two things before you get started with this. First of all, what persona you want the AI to assume, and this is where you really have lots of fun and figure out ways to incorporate this into your curriculum here. And the second, and this is really where we're getting the bang for our buck, where can we leverage specific learning goals and curriculum pieces that you want to have incorporated into the chat? And I'll show you that in just a moment here. Let's jump in. So this is just the launching doc for this session, but I thought it'd be easier to see the text here, and then I'm going to launch Gemini and actually show you this in action here. But when it launches, it's going to ask who should I act as for number one, number two, grade level of students, and then three is the specific topics. So I'm going to be giving it these things. I want the chatbot to act as Charlotte from Charlotte's Web. This is going to be for third graders. We're working on some comprehension work of finding the central message. And then I also want this chatbot to support some of the vocabulary work. And I'm giving it three specific words: significant, establish, and ecosystem. And it's going to weave those into the conversation and front load some of those as we go. All right, when you launch the link for this classroom character host, it'll come up here and you type in start when you're ready to go and submit that. And it's going to ask those things again about the persona and the grade level and the specific connections here. And I am going to give it those things I told you. I'm going to tell it about Charlotte, third grade, central message, and those vocabulary here. And it's going to start working here, and you'll see that how it's designed to get into character. Softly drops on a thin thread of silk, landing right near the center of the screen. Well, hello there, I'm Charlotte. And it's going to go right into this. I'm not going to read this all to you here. Now, this isn't going to be the same experience for everyone if you put the same exact prompt in, just the way that some of these AI tools work here. And it's ready for a question. You'll see that the word ecosystem has been woven in here. Significance already in there. Significant, that means very important. And so some of those vocabulary words are going to get reinforced throughout here. So this could be a whole activity where you have questions already established, or maybe you're thinking of them on the fly here. So why do you like Wilbur so much? Wilbur so much. I can definitely see a student having that. Wonderful question. Goes on. So notice right here. So here's the whole response in character in that persona here. Before we move on to our next question, turn to a partner and share. So the gem has been programmed, I programmed it, to put these turn and talk experiences in. So it's not this passive experience and all that in here. A couple of things I want to make sure you notice and that you know about inside Gemini here, these three dots. One of the things you can do is you can listen to the response. So this might be helpful at some point if a student's working in a small group or on their own with a tool like this, or maybe it works for the whole class, but we can listen.
Adjusts my 8 legs and gives my silk threads a gentle tug. Oh, that is a wonderful question. I like Wilbur because he is so remarkably kind.
And obviously, Charlotte's maybe have a different voice than that, but that's just an accessibility feature here, as well as the microphone. It's not going to work for me now because I'm recording this video with the microphone, but no typing would be needed if you just use the microphone to dictate in there as well. So this might look a lot of different ways. This could be a whole class experience. The chatbots projected on the board, staff members modeling how to ask analytical questions, leading a class discussion. Maybe it's small group is working on this. Maybe the staff member is working with a small group with this, or maybe the students are on their own apart from the teacher. So one student might act as the driver, typing or dictating. The other group members are collaborating and providing high quality questions. Maybe a student's working independently on this. Maybe they're role playing and getting ready to do a journal entry as a scientist or a famous historical figure. All right, getting you ready to do some exploration on your own here. I want to show up 3 things to you. This link right here, Classroom Character Host Gem, will launch the same experience that you just saw me do with Charlotte. Under the hood will take you to see the exact text that is in the gem, so you can see exactly how it's working if that's something that interests you and you want to explore, because the bottom link is the create your own copy. So if you are at a point and with your comfortability with gems and using some of these tools and you want to customize this beyond what I've done, you can go in there, make your own copy and change the way that it's acting, or just kind of see how it works there. Now we're ready to explore. So first of all, go in and try the gem out and try some different personas. Try historical characters or characters from stories or experts in different fields, and try to see what a classroom experience might look like and feel like here. Talk with your colleagues for number 2 here, make some collaboration. Start thinking about where this might fit into your curriculum pretty early in the year here. And then keep those things in mind about small group instruction and that targeted vocabulary work for our MyKIP goals. And maybe you're ready to do some customization to switch this gem up. That's certainly not required at all. Your goal during this time should be to identify a place where you can use this tool or a tool like this for an experience like we just showed. Here are some digital literacy skills that can be addressed when you have an experience like that we just had with the classroom character chatbot. Critical thinking is going to be really important. You might point out with the students how the AI is acting and speaking with a really high level of confidence. And sometimes they're not going to give you accurate information. Maybe some of the traits that you've really studied about characters aren't coming through with the character in the AI experience. Number 2, prompt crafting. This is a great way for students to understand and see real world how the quality of the prompt of the question, what that leads to in a response here. Number 3, understanding the mechanics. I think it would be really important to have this experience if students on the screen could watch you do the entire process from starting it, from initiating it, providing the prompt of how you're going to act and what curriculum pieces are going to be in there. Be really transparent with the students so that they see that this is just a computer program. This isn't a sentient being. This is just a computer that's running a program. We are modeling the responsible and ethical use. We're using this tool for some brainstorming, storytelling work. It's not replacing the critical thought. It's actually elevating that in our classroom. And finally, this isn't passive screen time. This is an engaging experience that students are actively participating in. The last thing we're going to look at today are these storybook gems. You're going to be able to take lesson concepts and put them into customized, beautifully illustrated stories in just a matter of seconds. You're going to be able to make challenging ideas accessible, and these are going to be able to be shared with students either in print or digitally. Let's take a look. So here's the storybook gem. All I've given so far is that Mrs. Pfeffer's first grade class has an upcoming field trip to the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum. This story will help the class prepare for their visit. And within a couple of minutes, this book was generated. So I can click through and read the story, see the illustrations that have been provided. You'll get a chance to do this in a moment yourself here. And this isn't a finished product, though. This is the power right down here in what you can then iterate and modify some more here. Maybe you're going to adjust the reading level so it's accessible to certain students with specific independent reading levels. You can name a DRA level 12. Make this text readable for an independent level 12 reader. Maybe you modify the story elements like the plot or the characters or the setting or what they're wearing or their names. You are able to listen to it directly here. You can share this with students with a link through Google Classroom, or you can download this and print it so they have a paper copy as well. Here's how you get to this. When you've launched Gemini, just from the start, if you go down to the left side and find the gems on the side here, and then along the top, these are gems that Google's already made for you here. I typically find it right here in the very first spot of Storybook, but you might need to do Show More. When you launch that, it's going to just get that gem fired up and ready to go and ask you for that. And that's where I provided the information about Mrs. Pfeffer's class. So this is going to be our final work time of this session. I'd like you to experience the gem, create your own, and then after you have the first draft done, go ahead and make some revisions to it. See if you can adjust the readability level and adjust the setting or some story elements or characters' names. And how can you incorporate some relevant vocabulary with those for those MindKit goals that we have here? And then finally, have some good discussions with your colleagues about how you might use this to support your students. One thing I wanted to make sure I didn't miss was that just to include that the same book, you could adjust just the reading level of the same story for several different students. So they can all have the same story, but they wouldn't necessarily have the same text, but they'd all have their own copies of the same thing. So that might be something that would be helpful for some differentiated instruction. I hope you find some great ways to incorporate that storybook gem into your work with students. As we wrap up, I'll put a little commercial plug in for myself here. In my role as instructional technology coach, I am available to you in lots of different ways. I can be part of planning with you, whether it's for a project, a unit, a specific lesson. If we want to integrate technology and reach students in new ways, let's get together and work as a team. We can co-teach together. I might come in and work together with your class. Maybe I'm modeling a lesson that you're observing, and we can give each other some feedback on that. I can help gather resources for you if you'd like. And I just want you to make sure that I'm available to you as an ongoing support. Please reach out whenever you'd like, and I'm eager to help and be a part of your practice. It's going to be helpful for me to get some feedback from today's session. So I'd like to use this protocol called I like, I wish, I wonder. So if you use the link, that's going to just ask you those 3 questions. For the I like, think about something that resonated most with you, that was a positive for you today. I wish, something that you wish you had some more time for, or maybe a potential challenge you see. And the I wonder, maybe something you still have some thinking and some wondering about there. If you go back to the launch document, number 5 down here is this exit ticket feedback form. We'll open this up. You can see the 3 questions: I like, I wish, I wonder, indicate your building. And the last question, this is anonymous, but if you'd like to include your name and so that I can reach out about one of your responses here, that would be excellent. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm really looking forward to connecting with everyone, to meeting new staff members, and to wishing you a great start to the new school year ahead. Can't wait to hear from you. Have a great day.